Hello, Facebook friends and family, my personal family, and my church family. Hello to all of you. Have I'm not in Lima anymore, so I haven't seen a lot of you. And this is going on, it's a little over 2 years. And July will be, I haven't seen you in 3. And I'm starting my video log channel, blog, whatever you wish to call it, because the Lord had told me He told me that I had to tell my story. So I'm not on here to talk about other folks' stories or story of what God has done for you. I can't tell what He done for you. I can only tell what He has done for me. And trust me, He has made leaps and bounds with me. I'm not there yet. I don't want to come across as I'm holier than thou and my mouth is sackcloth and ashes. No. Those of you that know me know that sometimes oh Lord, depending on what it is, sometimes I say words I shouldn't say from my sanctified mouth. Okay? And I'm only human. That's it. That's all. And I can't say anything else about what life has done for you or you or you or you. I can only say what my life is, and I can only say why my life is in the way it is. It's nobody's fault. It was because of the decisions that I made. And being young, a lot of times we don't understand that the decisions we make in the heat of the moment is a tragic tragedy waiting to happen only to you. I will start this. Well, we'll start at the beginning. First of all, I am and will always be a PK's kid and a pastor's daughter. Those two things I'll always be. My father, the late great Reverend Elder Wilbert Joseph Jones Sr., my daddy. My mother, Olivia King Jones, awesome woman of God. Awesome woman of God. And a beautiful, beautiful first lady. Did she have her way about her? Yes, she did. In the home, there was a lot of laughs in our home. We didn't have silver and gold. We didn't have diamonds draping. We were not royalty far as the human side of life. But were we spiritually, we were royalty. We were a royal family, spiritually. But I'm going to pick this up, and people that know me and those of you that don't, I feel you in. But this particular testimony starts from 2007, in May of 2007. Around, like it was about the first part of May. I had very, very sharp abdominal pain in my left on my left side, up in just right there in it just right there, that abdominal pain. Um, I had to go to the emergency room because I couldn't take the pain. I couldn't stand up. It was hard to lay down, very hard to walk because there was just so much pain. And I called my niece. Thank God for her. She came right on. She picked me up and I told her, I said, you don't have to stay because what I'll do is they're ready for me, when I'm done, then I'll call you and you can just come back and pick me up. So she was like, okay, T. And I went in and signed in and everything, and I got back in the room to start the procedures of what was I there for. And they saw the pain. They saw I couldn't stand, I couldn't walk, I couldn't. It was just horrible, horrible pain. So they let me know before my niece had left me there. She was still there with me when they told me that I will be admitted. And I gave her all of my belongings, my valuables, because it wasn't nothing valuable in there but them bills that had to be paid. Okay, that's what was in the pocketbook. But anyhow, I sent that back to home with her, and I just told her, I said, just um, they don't need a y'all coming out here, staying out here. It's just this pain. They got to do what they got to do to get the pain knocked down. So, and as I laid there or sat there, and I went from the chair to the little bed to the bed they had there. Then and eventually it was just down on. I was down on one knee on the floor because it was just, the pain was just that acute. I mean, when I say, oh God, and as as that began to play out some more, then they took my blood pressure, and truly it's a blessing. It was it was divinity. It was God's business. He was working with me. My head hurt me so bad I was holding it like this, laying in that hospital bed, and I was just holding my head because I felt like if I could just hold it, I could it wouldn't explode. My blood pressure, my top number was over 200, and my bottom number, that's never supposed to be out of the range. It's supposed to stay down up under. It's not good for your bottom number to be 90. That's not good. That's a problem. But my bottom number happened to be over 200 as well. And I could hear this ringing and everything down in my ear. I could hear that. But there was nothing that I could do. And as I lay there, this is how good God is. I didn't know nothing else. I've never known anything else to do but pray about the situation. When something was going on that was out of my control, I was always knew to pray because that was my mom and dad's motto: you pray, and God will come and see about you. But at this point, where I was at, I was kind of afraid for God to come and see about me. So I laid there and I began to talk to God. I wasn't begging. I wasn't saying, oh, Lord, don't let me die. I can't die, Lord. I'm scared. I'm this, I'm that. Blah, 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 blah. Lord, do this, Lord, do that, blah, blah, blah. I didn't do none of that. As I laid there and I talked to God. And I just told God flat out, Lord, if you come, if it's my time to go, I know I'm going. It doesn't matter what I want. It's your will, not mine. I said, but at this time, at this place in my life, I said, Lord, I'm not fit to die. I said, so personally, I hope this is not unto death because I'm not fit to die. Because I was holding on to little Francis hurt. It is very important for us as adults to know that children are just little grown people. They're little adults. What you do to them and how you talk to them and the things you do when they're young, that stuff, that's baggage to that child. It's baggage. And I had a whole lot of baggage. Some church hurt, some pain, some feelings hurt. And I'm going to tell you something. And because I'm not talking to the world, because I'm no longer a part of the world. I follow Jesus. I follow God. I'm down with God. I'm down with him. I don't have nothing. I can't go back with the devil because see, this story starts in 07 where I was already belonged to the devil. He don't bother nobody that he already got. But anyway, I began to just talk to God. That's all I could do. And after they got me admitted in and I was put up in my room, I called a very good friend of mine that God put us together as friends. And when we both met and we were both in the world and of the world. But when I met her, I had a calm spiritual feeling that connected me and drawed me to her as a friend. And when we started out, I had no idea and she didn't either. But she came from a family where her mother raised them in the church and they knew the church, they knew how to live right, all of those things. And I called her and we've been friends so long now, just call each other sis. And when she picked up the phone and I asked her, can you talk? And she said, yes, you're not sounding right. And I told her what was going on. And I told her, I said, I got some purging to do. I said, I got to talk some things out. I got to tell this to someone. And I need to be able to, I got to talk to somebody that I know is not going to run. And as soon as I get finished telling them, I didn't have to worry about she was recording it and then she was gonna put it on Facebook. Didn't even have to worry about that. But as I laid there and I told her, and when I got to the part where I told her, I said, I'm just honest with God. I said I was very honest with God when I was laying there. I said, my head is hurting so bad it feels like it's gonna just explode. I said, my top number is over 200. My bottom number is over 200. I should not even be here able to talk to you. Sis, I'm supposed to be dead. I said, but God. I said, but I also had to let God know that if he was there, if he was here for me, I knew I had to go. But I also let him know I wasn't fit to die. And when I told her that I had told God that I wasn't fit to die, she was like, wow, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, sis, back up, wait a minute. She said, do you know what you're saying? I said, yes. I say, and I'm saying it because it's true. I said, right now I'm not fit to die. I said, because I'm holding hurts, a lifetime of hurt. I said, I'm carrying baggage from a child all the way up until right here and right now. I said, and I've held on to hurt. I said, I've held on to church hurt. I've held on to family hurt. I say I've just held on to all of the things that was unpleasant that had went down before me. And I began to just tell her, and I would call off situations and people's names and what the issue was and how I felt and how I held on to it, even as my sisters, thank God, he blessed me with 6 sisters. And they had tried to tell me when we would have get-togethers and do sister things with each other and as a group, and we would talk about old time back in the day when we were kids and went to church and what this one did and what that one said and this, that, and the other. And they told me, they said, Frances, you need to let that go. But I told them, no, I can't let it go. Because if I let it go, I'm going to make the mistake and allow somebody else to do it again. And then that's going to be real ugly because I'm going to explode in a real nasty way. I said, because I'm just an inch from the edge. And they told me, they said, Frances, you got to let it go. And I told them, no, I'm going to hold on to this. Because, see, I'm going to bebop some heads with this. I'm going to run it down to them. I'm going to let those people know. I'm going to let everybody that I felt like said something wrong to me coming up, I'm going to let them know it. Okay, that was my attitude. And these are the things that I had to purge from myself. I had to cleanse this from me. I had to get it out. It was a cancer. It was eating up me. It wasn't eating up those people. They could care less. They was going on with their messy lives, being messy with somebody else. Okay? Because when you're PK's kid, we're labeled. The baddest kid, the preacher's kids is the baddest kids in the world. Well, if preachers' kids is the baddest kids in the world, it's the parishioners that made us bad. Because grown folks don't understand, they don't get it about, you can't talk about a child's parent or parents and think it's gonna all go over smoothly. It's bad. And I was just reminiscing and telling her things of how things were done to myself and my God sisters and brothers. Excuse me. And as God began to allow me to get it out and get it out with the angry words and the anger of all of that years of baggage. And I tell you, it was an experience. And at the end of the conversation, my sister from another mother, she said, "Wow, sis." She said, all I can say is wow. Because I've never heard nobody say that they were not fit to die. I said, well, I had to say it because it was the truth. Because I had played fast and loose with God, and that wasn't a good thing. He don't like that. He really don't like that. And as they got the infection down, and because I just stayed with pneumonia and this and that and the third, and as they got my temperature down, my blood pressure was coming down, everything had come down. I was in the hospital for about a week, or exactly a week. I went on a Thursday night, and I didn't leave that hospital until the following Thursday evening. I had a late dismissal. And when I was dismissed on that Thursday, that same weekend on that Saturday, my brother had they did a retirement party for my brother, for one of the twins, for Thomas. And we were, I, you know, I went to his retirement party that Saturday night, and we had a good time. All family and friends were there, and we just had a beautiful time. And then I went to my little bitty, uh, my great niece's birthday, and there I was at the birthday party and with the children, because that's what we did. The birthday party was grown folk party, children party, all of the party. You know what I mean? But anywho, I get home. We come up that Wednesday night was I think it was Michaela, my niece Brandy. It was Michaela, I believe, her birthday, or it was one of them's birthday. Got so many, and went home after that. No problem. My sister had to go to work, and she would bring her daughter would come to my house. I would be at home waiting on her. She would and spend the night with me because she worked second. No, she worked third shift, and at a warehouse. And when I got home, a week later now, That Thursday night, I had to return back to the hospital with the same pain that took me down to the floor. So I had to call her. She had to come get her daughter and take her to my sister Judy's house because I had to go back to the hospital. And I did. I got there and we go back through this same rigmarole of the abdominal pain, the blood pressure exceedingly high. Bottom number is 200. The top number is over 200. The bottom number is a little over 200 as well. So I'm right back here in this place. I'm not understanding it. How can it, a week later, I'm right back here with the same issue? This time around, they did some looking around in my abdomen and looking to see what's the problem in there. Ultrasound of my abdomen and all of that there. Had to do that there. And it wasn't a good diagnosis. I was misdiagnosed, bottom line. I was mixed diagnosed and I had agreed to allow them to do surgery. And I believe the surgery was done that Friday morning because of what they seen or what they say they saw. I was the GYOBN, whatever they call them. My dad called them lady doctors. When she came in, she was telling me all of this, what was going on, and they had to do surgery. I signed the papers. They take me to surgery on that Friday. And they say I'm told that surgery was, everything was taken care of. I shouldn't have that issue or that problem again. And that was on Friday. Late on Saturday, I could feel myself swelling. I was just blowing up like a balloon, just blowing up, blowing up. Couldn't pass gas, couldn't do anything. And they was talking crazy at the nurse's station and this, that, and the third. So I do what I have to do. And I couldn't relieve. I had my sister to go. I called her. I said, go to my house. Look in this. Look here. As Madil can say, don't go to the right. Don't go to the right. Ease your hand up under that mattress and go to the left. Don't touch the right. Just go to the left. And she did. And that's what I said, girl, go buy me some Gas X and bring them to me. I did the Gas X. Nothing. Didn't pass no gas. Didn't burp. Nothing. And that, like I said, that started on that. It was that late Saturday night, Sunday. So by the time Sunday evening rolls around, I'm in a place where there's nothing I can do for myself. I don't, and they're not telling me anything, and this is me. This is my body. This is happening to me. what do I do? So I commenced to I started getting cold, just freezing. Everybody else said it was hot. Everybody else said my room was comfortable because the air, in the hospital they have the air and everything to keep you at a comfortable place. But I was freezing. I had piled up blankets, warm. They would even go and get me the warm blankets out of the warmer and bring them and put over me. And I had them to cover up. Couldn't turn the air off. I had them to lay blankets down over the air conditioning because I was just freezing. I was just freezing, just teeth clanking together, freezing cold. And this went on all the way up until that to a Friday. I had miscalculated my niece that was going to school for the nurse. I told her, "You the family nurse, you my nurse, you in charge of this. They had to tell you everything because I don't know much." And then I be done. I said, I put it in her hands. My health, she was in charge of because she know how to talk to the doctors and the nurses and everything because that's what she is. She's at the time she was an LPN, and I began to work because I knew she had finals, and I didn't want her stressed out worrying about me and had finals to take in order to graduate from her nursing courses. And on that Friday, Dr. Capone, I think his name was, he was the infectious doctor that they had that would come in to see me. And he came in and he looked at my abdomen. He got angry. He flung them covers and things back up over me, and he goes out. And in my room, they had a little curtain that they could pull across, so when you come up the hallway, you couldn't just look in the room and see me. And as I as I laid there, and they was whispering, he's back there and he's whispering, which I knew it wasn't good because I had told another dear friend of mine on that Sunday when I began to start swelling. I said, "Girl, these people gonna kill me." I said, "If I don't be careful, they're gonna kill me out here at St. Rita's." So I I wouldn't let her call my family. I didn't want nobody because I did not want me to be disturbed because I wanted her to make them finals, but I've got days and everything all wrong. So when that happens, I called her. I called Mish and I said, "Mish," I said, "Something's going on out here. And it's about me. It's not good." I said, "You better get out here. Get out here as soon as you can." And the whole time I had been there, they had been keeping me pumped up with morphine. So, what probably wasn't no more than 20, 30 minutes. Next thing, she's coming in and she asks me if was had her mom been there. And I told her, "No, I don't call your mama because she get all nervous and she get lost. She can't find her way home. So no, don't do that to her." And she didn't say nothing, which meant I knew she had done called her mama. And when she got there and she spoke with, waiting on the doctor to come in. And when the doctor came in, she wanted to dismiss her and ask me what did not hold up. I'm in a whole lot of pain. I don't know nothing. And she's in charge of me medically. She's out there on my paperwork. She's on all of my paperwork at this hospital. You need to talk to Tamisha because she knows what you're talking about because she's in nursing school. So we got to pull her coattail real quick. So she begins to talk to me and tell her what was going on and uh, what was going on with me here. When she went in the Friday before, when she went into the surgery with me, how can you tell me that you saw a mass but you did nothing with it? You did absolutely nothing. You closed me back up and left that mass in me. But I gave you permission to do exploratory surgery. So I felt like if I give you that permission, then you should have been able to take care of that mass you saw. Well, this thing rocks on. So now she tells me that general surgeon has to do what needed to be done. Okay, we come on and tell you about the devil now. How he try to steal your life. So she asked me about the doctor. I didn't know about no doctor. The only one I could remember was the man that took out my mama's goiter, in which that was Dr. Hetzenbach. And when I said his name, my niece said no. I said, you talk to her, she'll tell you what doctor to call. So she told her who else she could call. So she told her, she says, well, call Dr. who we were calling for Dr. Cox. She said, she told her to just call Dr. Cox and have him to come and, see what and when he can take care of this situation. And when they called over, Dr. Cox was not the man. See, this is what God does. Dr. Cox wasn't the doctor that was on duty, on call that night. Dr. Ronald Maggie was. And Dr. Maggie, coincidentally, when they called over to Memorial for him, he was in surgery. He was in surgery doing to a man what he needed to do to me over here at St. Rita's. So they told him, when he was done, he would be over. And then I called my dear friend, Elsie Boyd. I called her and I told her, I said, girl, something is wrong. I said, it is. I said, I know we ain't Catholic. I said, but you're going to have to call Bruce. I said, I don't want nobody to worry Pastor. And I don't send Pastor. Don't send Reverend Joyner. Tell Bruce I want him. I know we ain't Catholic, but I got some things I need to talk to him about something. So if things don't go, if I don't make it through this, Bruce will know what to say. I say, I know what God did for Bruce. So I know Bruce can pray for me. He can get a prayer through. I say, and that's who I want to come and deal with this issue with me. And my noon she fuss a minute, then she go to praying. She fuss another minute, she go to praying. She said, well, girl, I'm gonna get off this phone because I'm gonna call him and I'm gonna tell him to get his big head. I said, okay, now don't get to be too hard on him. And Tamisha was still looking for her mother because she had told her mom. Well, as that time comes, at next thing, my sister Pal and Bruce comes through the door right behind each other. And she was, like I know, upset, scared, and everything else. And she had to get found because she had done got lost, all of that. Okay. And I told him, I said, Bruce, I said, I know we're not Catholic. I said, but I need you to tell something if things don't go right. He wouldn't even let me finish. He said, He said, no, Francis, we're going to speak life into this situation. He said, we know what God can do. He said, I know what he can do. I know what he did for me, and I know what he can do for you. He said, we gonna speak life in this. And from that point on, he just went to speaking. He began to tell, and we talked about his story and what God had done for him, the goodness of God, and how he can just step in and shed light on those dark places and give you a way out of whatever the situation is. And you could just feel the presence of God in the room. And the next thing I know, before he could go continue on, Dr. Maggie walks through the door. He comes in, and Reverend Bruce Moffat, he said, well, you're going to be all right, Francis. You're going to be all right. Doc here goes to our church. You're going to be all right. And so I never knew because I never sat in the back. Because if I sit in the back of the church, I ain't going to get nothing. And I didn't know. And because, see, when church is out, I have a route that I take to go in the church and into the sanctuary, and I have a route that I go out of the church, out of the sanctuary, because see, I don't mix and mingle with church folks too much. Did that all my life. I don't have to do that no more. My dad ain't the pastor no more, so I don't have to and do all of that yada yada with the parishioners. I don't have to do that. And I began, and when I looked at Dr. Maggie, he had a glow about him. I told my sister, I said, it kind of reminded me of Touched by an Angel when they show you who they are and this illuminating light. That's what came in. That's how Dr. Maggie came in, just illuminated, just illuminated. And he introduced himself, and Tamisha knew him already, so they had camaraderie, and we dealt with the situation, and he asked me questions and I answered what I could, and he pulled back the covers off of me because I'm still freezing cold now. And he pulls it off of me and he looks to see what was going on. And there was a look on his face. that I knew it wasn't, that the situation was not good. And just as he was coming in the room, the nurse, it was time for them to give me a round of morphine. And she had put it into the IV thing, and she had done shoved it through the IV. And Dr. Maggie asked her what she had just done for me, and she told him, and he told her to go get two more of those. He told her to go get two more, go set up two, come back with two more of what you just did. And then he ran this list of stuff that he told her to bring. And as he did that, then when he was done with that, he come back with me to me and he addressed me. He told me what he had to do. He said, he let me know. He said, I just come out of, he said, ironic. He said, I just came out of surgery with the same situation that you have here. He says, and the law won't allow me to go back into surgery. I've got to stay out for so many hours. He said, but what I got to do for you, I'm going to have to do this part bedside. He said, then tomorrow I'll have to take you back into surgery to do what we call a cleanup and to make sure that none of the infection attached itself to any of your other organs. And I said, okay. So when the nurse came back with the two more syringes full of morphine, I don't like that stuff. But it is, when it's needed, it's okay. And he told her, put it in. And then he took the stuff, he told me what to do with what he gave her something to do. And then he pulled me back and opened my band back, went to where the incision was up on my abdomen. And he began to pull out the staples. The first staple he pulled out, Tamisha says it sounded like a ball that had gotten poked with a hole, and it would just, and as it did that, as he took out the staples, that infection began to just roll up like a volcano, just coming up out of me like a volcano. And he told her, and the nurse wasn't moving fast enough for him. He just told her, just let it go, leave it go, and we'll have to clean her up once this is done. And he told me, he said, now what I'm getting ready to do, he said, Miss Jones, he said, I'm getting ready. He said, I'm going to take these two fingers. He said, and I got to go up, down in you, and I got to exercise these two fingers in order to assist this that's happening. He said, now once I start doing that, he said, you're going to feel like somebody throwed a bucket of ice water on you. He said, but once that happens, he said, you're going to be okay. And sure enough, just what he said, sure enough, that's how it went. And when he was done, he told me, he said, never let anybody tell you that you're not strong. He said, you're a strong woman. You've been in that pain since Sunday. You done dealt with this. He said, you're a strong woman. He said, you're going to be all right. He said, but I'll see you tomorrow about 6:30. He said, and I have to go back in because I got to make sure that the infection didn't attach itself. And at that time, I never, some parts of it didn't hit with me right away. So he did what he had to do, and I was okay for that for the night. And the morphine, I was just morphine. Oh my God, I hate that stuff. And sure enough, that Saturday, this is Friday night now. That Saturday, 6:30, they was rolling me back into OR for the cleanup. Got there and got it done. He talked with my family after everything, and I was put back in my room. That he let me know that they couldn't close me. He said, if I close you up, what you just went through, that's going to happen again. He said, you're going to have to heal from the inside out, which meant that incision had to be, it was some kind of packing stuff. And he told them how he wanted it done. He's a very particular doctor. And I had to go through with that. And they had to put me on a wound vac to suck out the infection and the pus and all of that. And did that. And that Monday, he came in. He was letting me know that, I could, once he got me with everything I needed, he was going to discharge me and let me go home with the wound vac, and they would have to come in and clean it and pack me 3. They did it I believe it was every day. The nurse would have to come and pack it in and do it all and everything. Well, the insurance company didn't want to hear that. I ended up having to stay in St. Rita's Medical Center. I stayed for 1 month. I didn't get out of there until I believe it was June the 10th or 11th, something like that, when I got discharged. I had to be moved from St. Rita's. St. Rita's has a wound wing hospital within it. It has a little hospital within St. Rita's. It's for the wounds and burns and stuff like that. So I had to be taken there. And after I was there, I believe maybe a week or a week and a half, somewhere in there, the insurance company, when they moved me from St. Rita's over to Triumph, the insurance company got that bill, and they gonna call up to Triumph to talk to me to see what would it take to get get discharged. I said, I don't know, because I didn't go to medical school. I went to doctor school. And when you go to doctor school, they don't give you don't get paperwork. You don't get no degree, no diploma. You don't get none of that. Okay? Doctor school, 0. Medical school, you got some credentials. I said, I don't know what I need. I said, but you need to talk to Dr. Ronald Maggie. He'll tell you everything I need. So that did that. Before the day was out, they were supposed to ship the stuff to it was supposed to be delivered to the house. Before the day was out, the stuff was delivered to Triumph Hospital. That's what I'm talking about. For 1 solid month. And as I laid there, as I talked to God that whole month as I was there, I talked to him and I told him, I said, I'm not going to lay here and make a bunch of promises to you that I can't keep. I said, but all I know, Heavenly Father, if you allow me to get rolled to the door and I put my foot on the ground again, I said, I ain't going to make you a bunch of promises I ain't going to keep. I'm going to show you. And when I walked out of St. Rita's Hospital on that day, from that day to this one, I cut my mess out. I cut all of my mess out. All of my sinning. All of my sinning. What they are, there's none of your business. God knows, and I know what my sins were. I told them to him. He threw them in the sea of forgetfulness. If I tell y'all, y'all gonna remember it to the day I die and beyond. So that's the end of that. And one day it was nice out and I had been cooped up in the hospital for a month and all of this, that, and the third. So I went out on my porch. And I sat in my swing. And I just looked. And then the impact of that second surgery, that Saturday, it came to light like somebody struck a match in a dark room. I did not know. All the while it was going on. There is no surgeries done on Saturdays and Sundays unless it's life-threatening. Okay. So see, I was in there the week before the month because I had to be ready for the second time around the month. The abscess in my abdominal area that could have killed me. Because the poison, if that infection would have got into my bloodstream, I wouldn't be here making this video about this. And I'm going to tell you something. God specializes. He specializes in what he does. So I've been ever since 2007. Because you see, he told me to tell my story. And I just thought it meant to minister to anyone that he allowed to come into my around me. That was my testimony in order to help someone else. That's what I thought. But as the years have come on and trickled on down, then the Lord explained to me what he wanted me to do. He let me know. And see, church world, church folk, let me run something. Let me run something to you. Every preacher, evangelist, missionary, whatever mantle that God has placed on you in your life and on your life, all preachers don't supposed to go in the pulpit. Okay? Everybody ain't meant to preach at the pulpit. Because let me tell you something. I'm not no preacher from the pulpit. But I've been giving sermons all my life. Because I know how to tell you. I tell you what is. I can tell you. I can tell you about walking that walk. Yeah, I can tell you. Because of what he has done for me. I was prophesied to by a woman of God when I was in junior high school. I've known since junior high school what one of my mantles were. He didn't call me to be the preacher in the pulpit and strive in a stride. He didn't tell me to raise $50,000 worth of hell to have a pulpit and I'm the pastor and the preacher and the pastor over the pulpit and the church. No, he ain't called me for that. Anybody know me? No, he ain't called me for that. Cause see, whichever one of them apostles, whichever one of them disciples that was the cusser, that's who I was. I was the disciple that did the cussing. Cause see, I'd be in the pulpit and be done one of them there words be done come up out my mouth. So no, I'm not made for the pulpit. But am I made to tell people when God bring them in across my path? Can I tell them what he done for me? Can I tell them how he set me free from a whole lot of mess? A whole lot of mess. Allergies. But God brought me through and he brought me out. Had someone to call me over the phone. Hey girl, I want you to do that. I want you to do what you do for me. I need you to do that for me. I never mixed words with her. I said, honey, I don't do that anymore. I'm saved now. Hung up and I ain't heard from her from that day to this one. Okay. So you see, I know what God will do when you ask him to do it. And you know that your life depends upon you doing it. So you see, I don't have a choice. I got to walk that walk. I got to talk the talk. I got to tell my testimony. I got to let people know it doesn't matter how far you fall. God, huh? But God. Doesn't matter how far you fall. If you raise your hand up to grab up a hold on his hand, if you hold your hand up and let God put your hand in his hand, that's your best life. And know that it's your best life. I'm here to be, my videos are about real talk. I'm not finna deal with mess. I'm not finna deal with messy people. I don't have time to to banter with anyone about anything that I say, because I'm not telling you that I am a preacher, a minister, because I don't want my pastor to embarrass me. And he's supposed to if I run around telling folks I'm Minister Francis Jones. I'm a minister. I'm up under the great Reverend Dr. Lamont Montfort Sr. I'm out of order on that one. So anybody that sees these videos, please don't run and tell nobody that Francis says she's a minister now. I've been an evangelist all my life. I have evangelized all my life. Anybody that knows me know. I'll tell you when you're talking to me, and if it get the best part of me, I don't know nothing about that. I tell you straight up, I don't know nothing about that. Don't be asking me where no scripture at, because I don't know. I know it's in there, and I know how to find it. Saints of God, if you don't know how to go in your Bible and find what you need to find, that's not my fault. That's not the preacher's fault. That ain't nobody's fault but yours if you don't know. I have always tried to remember scriptures. Because for whatever reason, I've seen some people that get up and, they could quote them. Oh, I wanted to do that too. I used to take my Bible I'd get my little Bible, and I'd go and I'd read it and I'd read it and I'd read it, and over I try to memorize that scripture. It didn't work for me. I can't memorize nothing in them 66. I can't memorize nothing. I can't tell you where it's at, but I can tell you it's in there, and I can tell you how to find it. All you got to do is get a keyword, and you go back into the back of your Bible to your concordance or whatever that might not be the right word, but you can go back there in that back and you can find that word, and you can find what I done told you that I saw or what I was saying. But first and foremost, I know the 23rd Psalm. I know I can't tell you word for word what it said, because I'm gonna put something in there ain't right. So don't even ask. But I can sure tell you their Thessalonians, in the first Thessalonians, in chapter 4, you can say chapter 4, verse 11. But I don't want you to just go from First Thessalonians and go straight to the 11th verse. I want you to read 1 through 11. Read the whole thing so you understand what it's saying. Because, see, in my Bible, God told us first, before anybody else had to. He told you to mind your own business. It's in the Bible. It's in the 66. I read it for myself. So see, you and nobody else can't tell me that I just put out a lie. I read it for myself. And if you go in there, you can read it for yourself. Because see, I'm not finna be trying to throw out no scriptures for nobody. If I tell you the story, if I tell you it's in there, it's in there. Because I done read it. Trust me. So my videos will be what they are, real talk. And I'm not addressing the world. I'm addressing the church world. Because I got some pet peeves that I come along and I realize they come from childhood all the way up until now. But it was the way them old folk made us be in church. Because you see, there's a whole lot of stuff go on in the sanctuary nowadays that ain't got no business going on. And we'll get all off into that too. Because I don't mind being transparent. I will admit to what I've done. I have already admitted to the wrong that I done, and I admitted it to God. To him, I knew he knew every last one of them up. That was okay. I still went 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down the line. Okay. From 1 to 999 years. Old as Methuselah. I went all the way back. And I admitted to the Lord thy God all that I hadn't done right. But we as church people need to stop telling folks what's a sin. Because a lot of stuff, y'all, it's a lot of things get put across the pulpit that shouldn't go across the pulpit. Okay. Church folk, learn how to mind your own business and stop being a burden to the pastor. Because some of y'all you're not an asset to, some of y'all is not an asset to the body of Christ. Some of you is more of a liability to the body of Christ because you don't know how to act. You don't know how to shut up and sit down when it has nothing to do with you. If you can't pay Sister Macaroni's rent, you need to get out of Sister Macaroni house all in her business. Because if you ain't paying the rent, you don't have a right to open your mouth and say nothing about Sister Macaroni. Okay? You don't have nothing to say about her life. You don't live in her house. You don't know what goes on behind closed doors. Because, see, I heard a comedian say one time, a man who lives in a glass house dress, no, they said Confucius said it, man who lives in glass house dress in basement. Whoop, whoop. Okay. So, this is what I'm saying, people of God. Stop talking about preachers and pastors. You need to stop it. Because I ain't read nowhere, and that's bad English, but it's real good understanding. That's what Pastor Moffat tell us when he get down with it. He'll tell you it's not good English, but it's a good understanding. Y'all need to stop. Because now I do know one thing, and I can't tell you where it's at. He said, touch not my anointed and do my prophets no harm. Now, this is what I want to drop into your spirit in this time around. When you talk about the preacher, the pastor, and you talk dogmatic about them, you're doing harm to one of God's anointed. And see, he anointed, he appointed who he wanted to be pastors and preachers. God does that. Stop telling people they ain't no preacher or they ain't pastor material. You don't know. Did God call you to be the pastor? Because you see, God didn't call me to be the pastor. Mm-mm. Anybody that want to can go right now. You can go find Pastor B. Lamont Moffat Sr. and you can ask him, Pastor Moffat, have you ever had to bring Sister Francis into the office and chastise her about being in somebody else's business in the church or being in your business? Mm-mm. He never had to, mm-mm. I ain't never had to be chastised by my pastor. Not for that. Now, he get me about not coming to church because sometimes I fall off and I don't step foot in church. Now, and he didn't dog me about that. He just let me know, I see you. And when is you coming back to church? He don't want to hear about all that other stuff. He ain't never did that with me. Gonna work my nerves about all of that other stuff. No, he said, you need to come on back to church. And when he tell me I need to, I gets right on in there. Yeah. That's the type I am. Because you see, I wasn't taught to be in the pastor's face 24/7. Because you know why? I was a pastor's kid, and I got tired of folks all the time, every day, every night, every week, in and out. Here's somebody else. No, I don't do that. My mama taught me from a little girl. You's a girl. You ain't gonna never be no boy. You're gonna always be a girl. And don't you ain't got no business going to the pastor talking about a problem that you got. You either find a mother, get somebody on the motherboard, it's one of the mothers, or a deacon's wife, or the first lady. That's who you talk to when you got a problem. Because single ladies don't have no business talking whatever their issue is, whether it is pure life. I don't care. I'm talking it whether if you single women, you just ain't got no business. Every time you turn around, you up in the pastor's face or you up in the deacon's face. Single ladies, that's out of order. That's out of order. Single ladies, single is the problem. If you looking for a husband, don't look for somebody else's husband. Ask the Lord to send you your own and then wait on it. Because the Bible tells us in there too that he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. I can't tell you where it's at. Look for it. All I'm saying is, comes to a time when you have to lay all the cards on the table. And real talk with Mama Francis, that's what it is. I'm going to lay it all out there on the table. Starting from me first. It's not about you or nobody else. It's about me. And I'm going to keep it real because that's what I am. I'm a real person. I'm real. That's just it, and that's just all.